recently penned an op-ed for thehill.com, and in it you focused on the International Monetary Fund. So if you could break that down for us, you're concerned about where some of the money, the coronavirus relief aid is going to other countries. It should be going to some of the poorer countries, but it turns out it might be going to some of the richer countries.
Well, worse than that, it may go to some of the biggest countries that are exploiting terror around the world, including Venezuela, Iran, and the Assad regime, and sending over $170 billion to China, which runs a huge current account surplus, has all the money it needs as the world's largest creditor. Here's the deal. The IMF was set up after World War II to provide emergency financial support to countries that get into a foreign exchange crisis, like we have in bad economic times. And the pandemic has crushed the poorest countries in the world ability to support their citizens and raise tax revenue and open their economies. So the IMF should be there to help. But it's not the way Maxine Waters and Dick Durbin want to do it, which is pass out trillions of dollars to countries that don't need the assistance. There's a better way, and the Trump administration has proposed a better approach. And that's what I'm trying to urge my friends in Congress, in the House and Senate, to object to the Maxine Waters, Dick Durbin approach and follow the Trump administration's more conservative approach to helping our poorest countries.
Yeah, I have a bunch of questions, but let me ask this first. Who decides where the money goes? For example, as you pointed out, some of the money is going to Venezuela, maybe China, Iran. Why those countries? Who picks that?
Yeah, this is a great question. So when you use special drawing rights, where you say all 189 countries that are members of the IMF have access to this additional capital, it's across the board. There's no distinction. There are no strings attached. It's not targeted relief. It offers capital access to all the members, and hence that's how China, Venezuela, Assad in Syria, or Putin in Russia get money that they don't need. The better approach is the Trump administration's approach to tailor that need to countries in crisis that are the poorest countries and provide direct lending from the IMF to those countries with the proper repayment plan and the proper economic development plan.
Yeah, I'm sure some people are watching this segment scratching their heads, wondering why China would be getting a dime from us, considering their handling of the coronavirus initially.
Exactly. China has trouble is the way they handle the coronavirus, and in Congress on a bipartisan basis, and that's important for all of our listeners, both Democrats and Republicans believe that China should be held accountable for what they've done in the medical supply chain, the pharmaceutical supply chain, the lack of communication about coronavirus, and what they're doing in technology and militarization around the world. And we're going to hold them to account.
Yeah. And again, had they been a little more transparent at the beginning, that would have saved thousands, hundreds of thousands of lives in America. President Trump did what he could. He implemented the travel ban. He was called a racist for that. And as you said, kind of things have been changing when it comes to information from the CDC. So this country has been trying to handle it the best way that it can. As for the money going to other countries, as you pointed out, Chinese government receiving our funds, some of the other countries, do you actually believe they're going to use the money as they're supposed to, or do you think that the American taxpayer dollars are going to go to fund something else?
Well, the IMF is financed partially by American taxpayer dollars, but these special drawing rights that Maxine Waters is proposing are using taxpayer money from all the members of the IMF. And this is not what any taxpayer in any country, whether it's Great Britain, France, or the United States, wants their money going to. Targeted relief for poor countries is the mission of the IMF, not extending money and access to cash to terror regimes that are not in need of IMF assistance. And so that's where we should be focused. And I don't believe it's just for American taxpayers to be concerned about. I think it's for taxpayers in other countries as well to be concerned about.
Yeah, and then again, Americans are probably listening to this segment wondering about relief for them. There's, Congress still hasn't come to a decision or has made action when it comes to coronavirus relief, and that might not even happen until after the election.
This is wrong. This is absolutely wrong, and I have to lay it at the feet one more time of our Speaker, Nancy Pelosi of California, who will not negotiate in a reasonable way with President Trump and Mitch McConnell, the leader in the Senate. She's personally held up a solution for unemployment benefits extension of the Paycheck Protection program for our small businesses, and additional funding that we need to give flexibility to our governors to spend the money that we've already given to our states. Today, I'm signing a discharge petition on the House floor to force her hand. We need to find 30 Democrats to vote with us, or maybe a few smaller than that, to move this Paycheck Protection program off the House floor into the Senate. This is the kind of common sense thing that both Republicans and Democrats want to do to help small business.
What are your constituents saying? Do you get a chance to go talk to the people that live in your district? I talk to a lot of regular working Americans, and they're really suffering. They need help.
They are. We want a common sense solution to unemployment assistance, but really the most important thing is to help our small businesses get reopened. We're blessed in Arkansas that Governor Asa Hutchinson did not shut down our whole state, and therefore our tax revenues are up. We have more people working than might have been if we completely shut our state down. But the PPP program extension, some additional help from the Small Business Administration, will really help our restaurants, our small hotel owners, and the people who are still paying a price for the government shutdown of the economy.
Yeah, and you said you needed the support from 30 Democrats to move this forward?
Yeah, if we get all the Republicans, we need maybe 16, 17. I always like to have a margin of error. You never know where people are. But we need about 20 Democrats, between 20 and 30 Democrats, to discharge this bill off the House floor. This is what the Senate's already proposed, and we could move relief today for the American people.
Yeah, well, hopefully something can be done before the election because, as I said, many Americans are really struggling. Well, Congressman, thank you for your time.
My best wishes. Thanks.